Howdy and welcome back. I'm Steven and this is FWP Reviews. The final month of the year has come and gone. This first month of videos of 2022 will be a lot of looking back at the year of 2021 and then looking forward to what's to come. We will of course start with my typical monthly summary video, and that is of course the good, the bad, and the mediocre of December 2021. This is the final month of the year and all of the movies that it entailed. There were some great movies and some bad movies, as we have typically seen throughout this year, but it was mostly a letdown that sealed this as a somewhat mediocre year for movies, even compared to 2020. However, there are some of the best movies of 2021 in this month of movies, so let's take a look and get started with the first movie I saw. Loveheart is the first movie I saw this month, and well, it's alright, I guess. This movie features a lot of already known elements of a typical holiday rom-com, but it's smart enough not to be a total blunder. However, it's totally predictable and could have used a refresher on how to make a good rom-com. It is decently self-aware though, and despite its shortcomings, it is somewhat entertaining. The French Dispatch finally showed up in a theater locally. I am oh so glad to have finally seen this movie I have been waiting for ages. I'm a huge Wes Anderson fan, so obviously I was extremely excited for this movie, and it delivered above and beyond. The rumors are true, this is the most Wes Anderson movie to ever have Wes Anderson. However, there's so much style and storytelling ability hidden within the anthology style story of the movie. I was genuinely enthralled with what was on screen, and I got invested in every story that they put forth. It isn't perfect and it isn't the best Wes Anderson movie, but damn if it isn't one of the best movies of the year. Power of the Dog is a movie that has a lot of award talk around it, and as soon as it popped on Netflix, I knew I was going to be extremely excited to check it out. What follows is a slow burn of serious proportions. The performances all around, particularly from Benedict Cumberbatch, make this movie a powerhouse. Beautiful scenery and excellent camera work managed to capture the backdrop perfectly to give this powerful story an excellent backdrop. Language Lessons is a movie with a sharp twist. It is mostly viewed through Spanish lessons that a man's husband has bought for him. Him and his teacher strike up an unexpected friendship and lean on each other when they need a friend the most. It's simple and can't altogether be considered a miracle of filmmaking, but it is somewhat entertaining and pretty compelling. Come On, Come On is a movie with an intriguing story and excellent performances. While the story is decent and compelling, the movie doesn't do a lot to distinguish itself. Very quickly on, you'll notice this movie starts to feel like just another movie. I would have hoped for more depth from this movie, but it just has none to give me. Wolf is a movie simultaneously built up and hindered by its own absurdities. This movie is unapologetically itself, and that works in some good ways and mostly some bad ways. It cannot be denied that this movie is an experience like any other I've ever had. Ever. It's entertaining and tense, mostly in the first half. It also tries its damn best to tell an entertaining and compelling story. Unfortunately, the movie just doesn't quite nail down its themes to put forth something effective, and it also can off-put a viewer by its weirdness at times. It comes off as mediocre, but you can tell the movie is at war with itself. The Beta Test is another weird movie from December. Honestly, December had a lot of weird movies. It is best to kind of not know what the beta test is about, so just watch it and then evaluate. And to be honest, if I tried to give you a rundown, my head would probably explode, so let's just skip that. What I can tell you is this was one of the most twisting, riveting, and intense movies I have ever seen. There's a lot to unpack in this movie, and it will probably reward repeated viewings if I ever get around to it. For now, the great parts of the movie help overcome the more messy elements and make it a pretty good movie overall. National Champions is a movie about football that features no actual football, but is a political thriller about football. When a top draft aspect and his friend reveal that they will not be playing an NCAA national championship game due to the NCAA athletes not being paid, things start to run amiss. They demand to be treated as employees and not just student athletes, and the upper big dogs of the NCAA, of course, are not having this. It's definitely a movie with rough spots, but it's enjoyable as hell, and it has such a profound and important message to it. It keeps you along for the ride, and it sort of introduces opposing views that are legitimate views, not just the view that, well, we shouldn't do anything about this, because obviously the system needs a little bit of a fix, you might say, or else they wouldn't have made an entire movie about it. But there's also different things to consider, and the movie introduces those well without opposing them and denouncing them. but also putting them against each other and sort of showing that this is a complex issue that needs to be addressed, but it is complex at that. The movie has many facets and most of it works, so this movie comes out overall pretty good, and some of the facets were a little less than compelling and sort of weighed it down ultimately. Spider-Man No Way Home is a movie I've waited for a very long time. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. If you have seen it, watch my video review. It's great. That is all. The Hand of God is an Italian coming-of-age movie that is built up and hindered by some of its slow burn and bizarre elements. The performances are strong and the themes are ever present in this movie. It is slow, but it is rich in content and knowledge. It was an experience for sure, but it was mostly a positive one at that. Nightmare Alley is a brilliant movie defined by its style and performances. The substance and story at hand create this massive amount of tension and twisting nature to the narrative, and they're so well done, but they barely hold the light to the masterful set pieces, atmosphere, and performances that we're watching. The atmosphere excellently elicits whatever mood is needed at that moment in the story. I love this and the massive impending doom that you feel running towards the end of this movie, and it all just works so well to create this sort of closed, tight story. Passing is a passable movie helped by its brilliant performances. Ruth and Tessa build out excellent performances in their characters, bringing the book characters to life, but other than that, it's alright to me. It can feel phoned in and lazy at times, sort of relying on what the book has to offer, but the black and white is such an effective thing that it helps make up for a lot of this and still boost it up to its passable rating. Being the Ricardos is another movie ruled by its excellent performances and not so much the content inside. I'd say the performances are a little worse than Passing and the movie's a little bit better than Passing, so they're about even overall. The movie is long and slow, and the excellent tension that it starts with wears thin very, very quickly. The movie is as visually uninteresting as it is emotionally uninteresting, and I will probably forget it very soon. At least I hope so. The Matrix Resurrections is interesting and has caused some divide. I see it as a meta fuck you. It felt apparent to me that's what it was. And I also saw it as decently entertaining, like the other Matrix sequels are entertaining, not good. So you combine those two aspects, you get a decent movie, to me. It is a bit mumbled and jumbled, but the meta aspects and the new coat of paint make this somewhat entertaining. Not anything that can hold a light to the original, because what could, honestly, at this point. This movie might age badly, and a lot of people really don't like it, so we'll see where this goes in a year to come. The Protege is much like the countless action movies you've seen before. Only interesting part of this movie is Maggie Q and Michael Keaton and their dynamic, but other than that, I couldn't even tell you what happened. Honestly. Sing 2, much like its predecessor, swings for the fences in this kid's movie and lands somewhere short of passable, but still good for a kid's movie. Sing 2 is a little bit messier and lower quality, but the excellent finale that it leads to is worthwhile and helps bring it up to the same level as the original. This movie could have even been better than the original if most of the story before the large finale didn't sort of undermine the emotional stories that are coming to fruition in the finale. Benedetta is a riot. It is funny in a dark and sadistic way, and it packs such a serious punch. The story that unfolds is more bizarre than you could ever imagine. My hopes were high that something entertaining would come of this movie when I turned it on, and something entertaining did come of it. Don't Look Up is a movie frowned upon by many and smiled upon by many. I think this is an excellent laugh and serves some real heavy-handed satire about the state of our country. I know it's a bit heavy-handed and ridiculous, but so is our country. Excellent performances and the best line in any movie this year. I fucking love fingerling potatoes, and you get something that entertains the fuck out of me. Mass, much like Don't Look Up, is about serious issues. Unlike Don't Look Up, Mass is a serious movie that is incredibly somber, and I would probably not recommend watching it if you don't want to depress yourself. Mass is an emotional odyssey despite it only taking place between 4 people in one room for a majority of the movie. Excellent performances and well-written and thought-out dialogue define this movie. It feels like 2 real couples grappling with this violent tragedy that is at the center of this movie, instead of just 2 pairs of actors and actresses acting it out. It's a movie with immense pain to the heart, and it's probably one I don't want to visit very soon, despite it being excellent. American Underdog is the compelling real-life story of Kurt Warner. Zachary Levi plays Kurt Warner, and he gives another excellent performance. Here's to hoping that Zachary Levi can bring the same fervor to Shazam 2 as he did to Shazam 1 and American Underdog, but Shazam 2 is going to need more than just him to fix that movie. I had hope for the movie, and it was decent. It just could have been edited a million times better, and other than that, it was alright. The Lost Daughter is the last movie I saw this year, and it's ambitious. It has excellent performances, especially from Olivia Colman, that are enough to make this movie passable on its own. Other than that, the movie is so muddled and weird and vague that it just doesn't work for me, and it's kind of a letdown that it was the last movie I saw this year. With that, we wrap up the final monthly summary of 2021. December 2021 was a mixed bag with highs and lows, as many months this year have been. Until next time, follow my Instagram at FWPReviews100 for daily written reviews about the newest movies. With that, this is FWP Reviews signing off. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next one.